Hi, here I'm going to set up my Shorties circular needles for our sock experiment. These are the size 1 needles, and I'm using the shorter ones, the 2-inch, and I'm going to put them on two separate cables because I'm going to knit my socks in parallel. And I'm going to use the shorter, the 2-inch needles in my right hand. And let's get these tightened on here. Use the gripper. And on the opposite side, once I get these on the opposite side, I'm going to use a size smaller than the size I'm using for gauge, and I'm going to take the 3-inch tips. Then it'll be easy to tell the difference between the two needles because one is 3-inch and one is 2-inch, and I know that the 2-inch ones are the size 1 that I'm using for the gauge. So stick these on. And then by using a smaller needle, it helps your stitches flow around more easily, but also it leaves me the other 3-inch needles in the size that is for my gauge available. So these are the two that I'm using for knitting the socks in parallel. And then I have this extra cable, and I have another set of the needles that are the size for the gauge to do the heels and the toes. And here I'm going to cast on onto one of the circular needles that I set up. And like I said, the shorter one is in my size 1 that I'm using. And here I'm going to do a slip knot cast on. I like the slip knot cast on because it's super stretchy. Also, you don't have to estimate how long of a tail you need. You just create a slip knot, and then the cast on is just a series of slip knots. So there's lots of videos on this if you want to check them out. The key is just to make sure that you do this little like shimmy shake before you pull, which makes it easier, unlike I did there. But there, if you do that little shake, it helps. Just do a few more here, and then I'll skip ahead. All right, when you've got them all done, the pattern does talk about having one extra stitch that you slip from the left needle back to the right needle, and then take the second stitch and pass it over that stitch that you slipped back. And this just helps keep there from being a step when in the round. Goodness, sorry, on camera here, it's getting stuck a bit. But if you just do that pass over, it helps join things up. And then I'll place my beginning of round marker and get knitting. Thanks for following along.